What's up, everyone? Welcome to The Balance Show. We believe that the key to life is balance.
Finding the balance between discipline and freedom, ambition and contentment. The perfect balance is unique to each individual.
We are your hosts, Taylor, Chloe, and Steve, and we're here to help you find your balance.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to The Balance Show. Today we have myself, Taylor, and my co-host,
Chloe. Hello.
And today we are talking about 5 ways to use negativity as fuel.
So this is a short and sweet podcast, but it's something that's very important to us because we know that whether you like it or not, we can be faced with negativity every day. And these are hopefully 5 simple things that you can do to remedy that. Number 1, you have to start talking to yourself in a positive way.
Right, so if no one around you believes in you, you are going to have to talk to yourself in a positive, powerful way, because you're never going to start to live the life that you want to live if you let the negativity around you sway where you're supposed to go. So the way that you talk to yourself is super, super important. It can start with, the way that when you look in the mirror, you talk more positively rather than negatively, or when you think about your abilities, or when you see someone else have something that you don't. It's like sometimes you think, I can't get there, but really your mind is more powerful than you think, and you actually can.
Absolutely. And it can start with the smallest thing, and it can be so simple. It can be, waking up and saying, okay, I want to drink more water today. And it can be starting with the baby steps and growing until your dreams are huge and you realize, I can do that. I can accomplish that. And so really it is just believing in yourself. I mean, that can be your biggest superpower, is just knowing who you are and believing in yourself and that you can accomplish whatever you want.
Right. So even just this simple task of taking can't out of your vocabulary is huge. Taking can't and replacing it with can. I know that's so cliche, but it works. Like if you're like, I can't do that. Like, why can't you lift that amount of weight? Or why can't you live that certain life that you want to live? Like, you can do whatever you want to do. As long as you put your whole heart, mind, soul into it, you can get there.
Absolutely.
Okay. So number 2 is talking bad about other people and being around people that manifest that and that do that same thing. It's so negative to live that way and to be around people that do talk in a negative way about other people, because it starts to create like jealousy and envy and hate in your own life, and it does nothing to the person that you're talking bad about. So just squashing that immediately from your day-to-day life is honestly a game changer.
Absolutely. You have to think of your mind as a garden, and when negativity seeps in, it's like weeds, and those can overtake everything and destroy everything that's good. So you have to take what you can into your power, what you can control, and that is the way you talk to yourself, and that is the way you talk about other people. Take what you can control and allow that to flourish and cut out those weeds.
It's beautiful. So in that, we're all human. We all do this on a daily basis. Like, I fall victim to it. Chloe does. We all do this. And every time, like, you talk bad about someone, doesn't it leave you feeling just, like, super gross and, like, negative and in this weird headspace?
Yeah, totally.
And you wish you'd never done it. So, really, all it takes is changing that kind of lifestyle that you have with, talking bad about other people.
Yeah.
And surrounding yourself by other people. Like, sometimes you have those friends or those people that come to you and think that they're allowed to talk about other people, but maybe slowly start transitioning that into, when people come to me, they know not to talk about other people because I don't give in to that.
Yeah, exactly. Just don't entertain it. And not only is this just sitting, among people and gossiping, this also is within your own mind. So if you see someone and you make a snap judgment, or you have a negative thought about them that's completely unwarranted, just catch yourself and say, you know what, that doesn't even make sense.
Yeah, and like on social media, I know that we see so many people on a daily basis, and it's so easy to pass judgment when we're scrolling on Instagram specifically. and just stop doing that. When you
Right.
find yourself thinking negatively about someone, just squash it. I think it's as simple as that.
Yeah.
Like even having a New Year's resolution and being like, I'm going to not talk bad about people for the rest of the year.
Yeah. It sounds silly, but it's that negativity that you're cultivating in your own mind. And you have the control to take it out.
Right. And replacing those people with positive people that, you know, instead of talking bad, lift others up.
That's what it's about. Like, let's talk about more than just like what's happening on a surface level. Let's talk about bigger ideas. Let's talk about how we can grow, things like that. Those are the conversations that you want to be having on a daily basis.
Totally.
Number 3 is just to know the difference between negativity and constructive criticism. I think it all can come down to pride, and none of us like to hear criticism, whether it's, you know, for our own good or we consider it negativity. Sometimes the people who love you, the people who care about you, they may say things that you don't like or that you don't want to hear. So you have to assess that and not constantly put up a wall and say no bad vibes. You have to think, okay, does this actually mean something to me? Does this person, does their opinion mean something to me? And what they said, does it have any ground? So you really have to consider, like, okay, I'm not perfect. And if this person is coming to me, you know, going out of their way and doing something that's hard and trying to make me better, you have to absorb some of that and just know that you're not perfect, and you have to be a little bit humble and put your pride aside and know that sometimes criticism can be for the best, like I said, especially from people who love you. However, on the other side of that, there are people who are constantly negative, constantly bringing you down, constantly have bad things to say about you, and they drain your energy. Those are toxic people. Whether you're your friends, they can be your family. They can be, you know, the people that you've known since you were a kid. Nobody has automatic admission to your life. So you don't have to maintain relationships that drain you just because you feel obligated to do so.
Right. Like I've been practicing this a lot in my life right now. And I don't know what it is, but I feel like people in my past are coming out of the woodwork, you know, just like people that have made me feel a certain way in the past. And when they come now into my life, I'm like, oh, like that's the reason why, you know, I subconsciously distanced myself from that person was because this is the way they make me feel.
Yeah.
So it's going to be really hard to, you know, put your foot down and distance yourself and maybe even completely cut that person or people out of your life. But I promise you, your life is going to be so much better without that toxicity. Like I remember the first time that I cut a really close friend out of my life, but I had to, like I couldn't allow that negativity in my life anymore, because every time I would be around this person, I mean, I'd even call Chloe after hanging out with them. I'd be like, oh my gosh, like I feel sick to my stomach, you know, I don't feel good about myself.
Yeah.
And I just put all these negative self-doubt into my head for no reason, just being around this person.
And that's just someone who you don't like gel with.
Yeah,
like
totally.
There's someone in the world that, you know, gels with that type of person, but that's just not you. And people grow in different directions. So maybe you were great friends in the past, but you grow this way and they grow this way, and that's okay. Like you don't have to say, you know, okay, I'm stuck here.
Right. Just because I've been friends with them for years doesn't mean, you know, we're still on the same wavelength. You know,
Totally.
and it's hard, but once you first do it, like it's so freeing, and you feel like if there's another toxic person that comes into your life, it's a little bit easier to part ways, because you've been through it and you've seen the light at the end of the tunnel, and you know what your life is like without the toxic people.
Yeah, a weight is lifted and you realize, okay, wait, I have control over that. I think as a people pleaser, it can be hard. Like that can be one of the hardest things to do, is to cut someone off, and you can do it in a way that's respectful. You can say, hey, look, we're on a different wavelength and I just don't think this is working for me. You don't have to tear that person down.
Totally.
You don't have to tell them every single reason why. Just say, you know what, I'm going in a different direction and this is it. Like you don't owe anyone an explanation, and you also don't, it'll hurt you more to list out all these things. It won't get through to them, and it doesn't matter at the end of the day.
Totally. Okay, guys, this is the last point, and this is so freaking important. So important, and it's how it's something that I think about on a daily basis that pushes me to go to where I want to go, but it's to using those negative words or negative situations or negative anything that people do or people say, and using them as fuel. You know, you're going to have really, really hard times. You're going to have times where you hit adversity and you don't have any gas left in the tank to push any further. Thinking of those things that people may have said about you or said to you in the past, sometimes that's the only way that you're able to push forward.
It's kind of the sense of, I am going to prove them wrong. I'm going to prove to myself that I can do this. I can do whatever it is.
Totally. Yeah. Like, I remember when I was 12 years old, my friend's dad, he didn't say this to me, but my friend was like, yeah, my dad said that, you know, you never amount to anything in life and you would never do anything with your life. And I was literally 12 years old. That moment has stuck with me forever. And I think about it all the time, and I'm like, you know, I prove to not only him, but to me on a daily basis that I am going somewhere and I am going to live the best life that I can.
Yeah.
Because back then people didn't think I could.
Right, exactly. And you can, and that's what you realize especially as you grow, is that you decide, like, you have the control and the power, and you really decide your own fate. And if you let everyone around you tell you who you are or where you're going to go,
Right.
you're just relinquishing the control.
Right.
And you're not able to guide yourself.
Yeah. Chloe and I are from a small town, and in that town, like, unless you, I feel like, hit some sort of adversity and have to move, or some sort of adversity where you grow, it's really hard to, you know, get out of that mindset there. So unless you're, like, pushed through something, it's hard to think outside the box and move towards your dreams and goals, because everyone around you may be doing the same things, or, you know, like we said earlier, gossiping about one another, talking bad. You really have to either remove yourself from a situation or surround yourself with more positive people. And if you think, like, I'm going to cut this person out and I'm never going to have any more friends in my life, that's not true. They're going to come.
Here's what's going to happen, because you've been through it, I've been through it. We know so many people who have done the same. You're going to cut them out, and it's going to hurt, because I mean, you care about them. You know, they're a part of your life for a reason. However, you have to protect yourself and your own energy. So you will cut them, and it's going to hurt, and you'll kind of agonize over it for a day or maybe a week. And then once that's over, a weight is lifted from your shoulders, and you will be able to be a better version of yourself, because you're going to be able to put all of your energy back into you and pour it into the things that are important to you.
Totally.
When you're drained, whether it's from, you know, work, or it could be anything, but from people in your life, especially people who are super close to you, who you are just constantly giving, and all they do is take, or you're constantly bringing them up and all they do is tear you down, it's just so toxic. It's a weed in your garden. So when you cut that out, you will be a better version of yourself. And if you're lonely for a time, that is completely okay. I dated someone all through college who was the most toxic a person could be, I would say, for me. And it made me really lose myself. And so once I cut that off finally, and it took a long time to fully sever the tie, but once I did, I started to pour into myself and figure out who I was. And I spent time being lonely and being okay with being alone. And that has made me so much stronger. And then when you get to that point where you're just a better version of you, you attract people into your life that are on that same wavelength. So don't worry about having no friends if you cut them all off. That's fine. They will come. They'll be attracted to your energy the way that you're attracted to theirs, but you can't match their wavelength and be a drain for them. You have to work on yourself, and you have to pour into yourself, talk positively to yourself. And that's kind of, like we said, the start of it all.
Totally. Yeah, that's so important. Don't be afraid to make these changes, you know, speaking positively to yourself, cutting out toxicity, using these words as fuel, because honestly, it's what has helped change our lives, and we hope that it will help change yours too. And then another point that I do want to make in number 5 is we all have social media, right? And we're all exposed to negative comments. I mean, I remember the first negative comment I got when I started my YouTube channel, and it just, like, stuck with me for so long, but I wish that it hadn't, because nowadays, like if I even see a negative comment, block and delete.
That's it. That's like the digital form of cutting toxic people, because that person, and you were saying this earlier, that person doesn't really know you. They probably don't even follow you and know your life, but they don't really know you, and their opinion is not valid to you, and it's not important.
Right.
Not everyone in the entire world deserves access to you all the time.
On every level too.
Right.
Like not just like seeing what you're doing, but like emotionally. I feel like that's what's tearing our society down, is like seeing all these bullies and this negative energy all over the internet. It's just hitting us in a certain spot. So learning how to block and delete is honestly the best way, because reasoning with a person that is spewing off hate and negativity is a lot of energy, and most of the time it doesn't ever change their mind.
It doesn't go through to them. They're just, as you're defending yourself, they're defending themselves, and it can just turn into this huge thing, and even bigger than it ever should have been in the first place. So block and delete that from your life. And on that note, another thing that I wanted to just mention too was focusing on the negativity and getting it out is important, but even more so focusing on the positivity. So just being grateful every day for, you know, the opportunities that you have, and just waking up and just being alive, and like
Squeezing every ounce of life
out of each day.
Yes.
That's like something that I think recently, for me at least, we both have been really focusing on, is like maximizing every single minute. From the moment I wake up to the moment I go to sleep, I want to reach my full potential every day.
Yeah. Like, is that scrolling on Instagram, talking bad about other people and thinking bad about yourself?
Right.
No. It's trying to make a change in the world. It's trying to make a change in your life. It's trying to learn and grow in every single way. Like, that is a daily practice that we are working on, but it is honestly so life-changing when you make that mental switch.
It's insane. And when you focus on, you know, just bettering yourself, you're grinding in your career, but you're also taking time to just like be by yourself and just be with your thoughts. So whether you're just taking some time to read or just relax, all of those things, finding that balance between everything is absolutely integral to bringing that peace and that positivity back into your life. If you feel like you're kind of at a low point and you're feeling, you know, really sad and you're lacking motivation, that's kind of some of the things. If you just focus on, okay, what can I control?
Yeah.
It's just one thing at a time. What can I control? What can I make better? That's really how I got myself out of, you know, the hole that I was in for such a long time. It's just, okay, what can I control? The littlest thing. What can I do?
Waking up every day and like thinking that you're going to have a good day, and like making yourself go to the gym because you know how you feel afterwards, and like eating well because you feel good, and doing this hard work because it makes you feel good at the end of the day. Like those are the things that are important. And those are the things that manifest this positive person that, you know, we all can be.
And positive people just like radiate light. And like I think that's like such a huge goal for both of us, is like we just hope that we can bring like some light into somebody else's life, even if it's one person. I just want to like make that kind of impact, because I've been at times where I've needed light. You have too. Everyone knows how that feels to just be in a dark place. So I think we hope to just radiate light. And one of the really small practices that I started doing years and years ago when I was, you know, just trying to bring my positivity up, is if I ever thought something about someone that was positive, I would verbalize it. So whether that was on the internet and I would comment it, or if I see someone in person and I like the way that, you know, I like their jacket, or I think they have a beautiful smile, whatever it is, like I verbalize it, and that makes me think more positively, and that just like brings light to people. Like it can make someone's day.
And then it makes you feel good, and then it makes you feel like just, I don't know, overall positive. On track to live like this most abundant, fulfilling life.
And it's the like we said, it's the little things, and it's the easiest things, but you know, you start to add those up and they just equate to like the most beautiful thing.
Totally.
Yeah.
Love it. Another positive way of thinking is the fact that we just recorded this podcast the first time and it wasn't recording, so we did it for 40 minutes and it ended up not being recorded. So at the end of the day, we were like, you know, not the end of the day, literally like 10 minutes ago, we were like, You know what? Think positively.
We tried a second time and we couldn't stop laughing. At every 2 minutes, one of us would just have an attack. So this is actually the third attempt and hopefully successful attempt. We're checking all the monitors.
Yeah.
Looking good.
Looking good. We're recording. But in that, like, we could have been so pissed, negative, stormed out the door, did it another day.
I was a little bit pissed, actually.
But we were like, you know what? Maybe the first one was just a run through. It's not as good as what it could have been the second time or third time.
The third time's the charm.
So there you go. There's an example of how we freaking flipped our mindset.
Flip it.
It's a daily practice for everyone.
There you go. It's easy. Like, it's those little things. You can let it ruin your day or you can push past it.
Literally.
Yeah.
Literally.
You have a lot more in your control than you might think. Mm-hmm. And that's something that, like, I had to do is, like, I couldn't just continue to just think, like, oh, the world is against me and I can't do anything. It's like, what can you do, though? Like, could it just be, like, can you read a book that might make you see things in a different way? Like, the smallest thing. Like, can you go outside and get some fresh air? Like, yes, I can make time for that.
As I breathe in, when you said fresh air, I literally breathed. I literally took a huge breath in.
You're like, I can.
I'm in this.
I know.
I'm like, yes, Chloe, yes.
Speak to me.
Can I go outside and walk?
You leave. I gotta go.
I gotta get some fresh air.
But on that note, and Taylor said this in the first round, so I'm gonna let her say it again. But we want to leave you guys with a little positive affirmation.
So if you guys don't have anyone in your life right now that you feel like speaks positively to you, or feel like they believe in you, or you feel like there's so much negativity around you all the time, we're here to say that we truly do believe in you. And as long as you put your whole energy, heart, soul, mind into something, it will flourish and it will become what you want it to become. There's no way you will fail. All you have to do is think positively and start to manifest all of these things into a positive, abundant life, and you can live the life that you want to live. Mm-hmm. Don't let the negativity get you down. And again, if you have not heard today that you can do whatever you want to do in this life, we're here to tell you that
you can.
Coming from two girls who had really small dreams in the past and weren't living out their lives to their potential, like, all it takes is living each day and trying to, again, squeeze every ounce of life that you can out of that day, and thinking positively towards your goals and your dreams.
If you feel like you're kind of in a place in life where you're coasting or you're on autopilot, that is when you know that you need to get some fire back in yourself. And the only person that can do that for you is you.
Totally.
And so know that, like, if we did it, us two, and if we accomplish, like, even just a small part of our dreams, and we can dig ourselves out of a rut and just become stronger and better for it, you can totally do it.
Yeah.
Totally. Like, we don't have any more tools than you. It just comes from believing in yourself, and hopefully these 5 pretty simple things can help add to that fuel as well.
Totally. Well, we love you guys. Thank you for taking the time out of your day to listen to this podcast. This podcast has been so fun for us to do. We love just chatting about life in general. So if you guys want to leave a review down below and subscribe, we would greatly appreciate it. But again, we love you, and we will see you in the next one.
Thanks for listening, guys.
Peace.
Bye.